guys. So what we're going to go over today is what I call fun with numbers, and just to kind of set some context is, and a lot of times the question is, okay, well, what numbers should I know? How do I calculate them? Okay, now that I know them, are they good or bad? If they're bad or they need improvement, what do I do? And so the focus of today is to buy the different areas of your business. What are the key numbers you should know? Why is it important? How do you calculate it? What is considered good or bad? And then what are a handful of things that you could do tactically to try to improve the numbers? Is your support staff, or, I think Chester Carson uses the word salary cap. I think if you read Jim Houston, he uses a similar name for this. So this is essentially your overhead team. So your office and support staff, or, as I like to view it, your non-revenue producing positions. Why is this metric important? It ensures that your support staff that you have is efficient. The key metric or the key numbers here is that if you're in that 8% to 12% of revenue range, you're doing really well. 12 to 16, you're doing good, but there's probably a little bit of room to improve. If it's over 16% of your revenue, that's when you really need to look at and say, okay, do I need to make some adjustments here? Because once you get over 16%, you're starting to run a little hot versus what you should. A couple of notes here is on the commercial side. If most of your business is commercial, you should be running on the lower end of these ranges. I think Chester, you mentioned the other day, I think he's seen some companies running 6 to 8% overhead on the commercial side, because obviously that business model is very different. So that's one note. And then the other note is these are ranges. And if you're in a high growth phase, you may temporarily run for a year or two plus 16%, because maybe, you need to add a turf care manager because you're kind of at that tipping point where you need someone to manage your fert and weed control division. You still have room for that person to manage, right? So you can still grow without adding another manager. But when you add him on day one, your overhead is probably going to spike. And then how can I improve my overhead? So for those of you that follow Traction, follow EOS, one of their concepts is, do I have the right person in the right seat? This is probably the biggest reason that in growth, when our overhead spikes, is because, and it goes back to, I think you've probably heard a lot, is a lot of times the person that gets you from $500,000 to 2 million may not be the right person to get you from 2 to 5. And where that comes into play in your overhead percentage is, and the person you have in that seat may not have the right skill set. So maybe it takes them longer to do the work. Maybe they can't produce as much as someone that would be better suited for that role because they don't have the right skill set. And so your overhead starts to creep up. This past year, we experienced that we let go 2/3 of our key leadership team that we had at the start of the year. And I made the decision, like, okay, if we're going to go from 5 million to 8 million over the next 3 years, that person just does not have the right skill set. I can't upskill them because they just don't have the capacity. And then the third thing, which has been covered before, Matt Green had a really good presentation a few months ago. I know some of you guys use this or are dabbling in it, is the use of VAs. That's a low cost, inexpensive way to scale your support team, your overhead team.
One more question. When you said that you replaced 2/3 of your salary cap people, did you see your percentage go down and your growth go up at the same time? Like, did you replace them with the correct people, or did it take time to have that, to get your salary cap back to that percentage where you don't suck?
We made the changes because it wasn't so much to get our overhead back to where it needs to be. Like, we're running hot. I think our overhead last year was 16, 17%. But I know that because we're investing in, call it infrastructure in the leadership team. For us to get to 8 million and for us to get our salary cap down into that 16 to 12% range, I felt that we needed to make a change today so that we could get this down going into 2026, 2027, 2028. Does that make sense?
Yeah, sure.
And then I think the second part of your question is, did we get it right the first time? No. So we're on our third office manager in the past 6 months, and she may be listening, and she's awesome.
Okay. Yeah, that's
but the
helpful because I think, yeah, you think like, hey, let's make the change, but then like we've been through 4 sales reps too, so I feel like
Yep.
it's like, where do we got to find the right one. So
Yeah, and to that, I mean, kind of to that, Krista, too. We turned over our landscape salesperson, and we're on our second one. We think he's the right person. We're cautiously optimistic, but yeah, the first one
yeah,
was not good.
right. Maybe.
It sucks to let someone go that even if they're not the right seat, they're a known quantity. But I have yet to let someone go at any level of the organization and regret it.
And regret it.
Uh,
Yeah.
Never have. And not because I'm perfect, but it's because, once they're gone and you realize, and then you replace them with someone that has the right skill set, it's like, holy shit, the capacity of the team just went up 20%.